Okay, welcome. We're doing a watercolor pencil sketch here of autumn trees. Okay, so just picking some different colors out here. I'm going to get them on here, and then we're going to wet it out, and we're going to see how they work and they interact. So I'm going to put enough on here so that you can actually get things to work properly. You guys, any of you guys here paint or anything like that? Do you paint? Yeah, great. That's great. Just get over this. Probably have a shoreline here, so probably put a shoreline roughly about there. I'm picking some yellow here again. You notice what I'm doing is my stroke's different now. It's an up and down type stroke. Secret is make sure you deposit enough color, because when you wash it out with the border, it does get very soft, very soft on you. And the strokes downward shows the actual reflection of the water. Yeah. So you ever see that guy on TV with the beard and Bob Rose? Well, I knew him. He trained me how to paint, so 20 years ago. Yeah, I became one of his certified instructors. So I traveled around a lot teaching for him. He passed away. You know, he's not alive. Yeah, so he started really my art studying it with him a lot, and now he's like an icon. Everybody knows about him. And let's see what other colors we use here. We get bright orange here. I discovered these many years ago when I was doing a trade show for Grumbacher and company that produces paints and brushes and stuff like that. And this guy came over to me with his hand, and he had all these things in his hand, all these brushes and things. So I want you to try these. These are pencils. I'm used to using the tubes, you know. And suddenly, I loved it. I started doing cards, holiday cards with it, and it worked out really well. Loved it. Really neat. I could take them on the field and not get all messy. Overlap these a little bit too, so they get little different mixtures going. This is a little more free or looser than I usually paint. I usually paint a little more exact. Let's get let's see some gray in here too. Gray is good. It's a neutral. Girl that I was teaching not long ago, her family moved to Japan, and I found out that she's now working for a manga company, producing the comics. She was very good though. I met her when she was 9, and I taught her up until she was 15, but she was so good, really so good. I mean, your jaw would drop. Like, you did this when you were 9. It's like, oh my gosh. She was very good. I'm happy to hear that for her. What's that?
That sounds nice. How she was doing this when she was 9.
Yeah, isn't it wonderful? It's a dream come true for her. And I'm glad too, because she was a very impressionable girl. And I feel if something happened and she broke her dream, she would be just crushed. And thank God it worked out for her. But very hard to get into a company like those companies. I don't think there's that many of them that are actually producing. questions here. What are you guys going to do tonight as far as the 5 o'clock class? What class are you seeing? Oh, okay. Did you do any Zoom classes through the library? Nothing. We did a lot of them the last year and a half. From schools, after school clubs. I was zoomed out. It was great in the beginning because I didn't have to go anywhere. Just turn on the computer. That was it. But wow, after a while, it got tough. It got really tough. Let's just balance this off here a little bit. You 50 of these. So many different shades. Let's get some sky up here. Contrast with it a little bit. You guys watch any particular art? Not art, I'm sorry. Any particular artist particularly yet? I mean, as far as what you like, might be too early yet. Because what grade do you guys? You're at 7th, are you? So it's the kids look so mature today. I thought you were in high school. It's like,
We're both supposed to be in 8th, but we're both 13. He's 14. He's
okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Do you guys have any kind of in art feeling, or do you have any kind of favorite like artists that you like or anything like that? Nothing like that.
No,
Not yet. Yeah.
but in my class, I'm doing blending.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's cool. Yeah.
Digital art.
I usually just focus on the arts that sit for what's it called, makeup, because you could literally transform yourself into one for the first time.
Yeah, you can actually. Yes.
I'm really good with special effects.
You are really.
She obviously. I like designing stuff.
You do like designing stuff.
Look at
Yeah.
my shoes.
Oh my God! Look at that. Oh, that's.
Color.
Oh, you're from coloring and you designed this, yeah. Wow. Okay. That says a lot right there.
I have a couple of skateboard decks in my room that I made up that I'm just drawing on.
Yeah. Well, you see what comes out of Paris, right? You see the runway stuff that comes out. I don't know how women would wear that stuff anyway, but it's just that they come out with these really
I would
flat,
find a way.
flat hats and stuff. And, you know, somebody's wearing a circle with this a knife through it, and I don't know. It's like weird. It's really weird. But again, my weirdness is somebody else's pleasure, so that's another thing. It doesn't matter
I cut of my grandma
what you do.
because I know how to make myself look like I have a cut, so I put one on
Oh
the part of my
no!
arm,
Oh my God!
and I scared the life out of her.
Oh my God! She probably was like, what did you do? What did you do?
I did
Oh.
with a smile.
She saw it like that.
Mhm. And then I put one on my face.
Jeez.
Like this. It looks fake.
Oh yeah, but yeah, that could be startling if you start just quickly.
Yeah, I rushed this one.
So you must have been fun on Halloween, right?
So I dyed my face red that night.
You did really? You
Like half of my face is red.
wow.
Look at my.
Oh, you got the remnants of it on it. That's a riot. Oh my gosh, that's something.
I originally used watercolor on,
You just-
then I realized I couldn't wear them in the rain, so then I put food dye on.
Yeah, that's what would
And
happen.
then I face water at home.
It would just drool all over the place, right? Yeah. That's it. Design is design. It's you know, it has no boundaries really. It's all your imagination really. Yeah. I met a girl years ago. She was at a trade show. And she was something else. She had all her whole body was full of tattoos. And she had piercings all over her. And she just was great. But what she did was she painted in airbrush tiger heads on t-shirts. And you should have seen how beautiful they were. She did just freelance, like that. Beautiful stuff, She did all kinds of, she did blankets. She did all kinds of, she was into every, I don't know where she is today. She's probably pretty famous somewhere else. So, but I mean, I haven't heard from her at all in regard to that on the East Coast, but she may be popular in the West where I'd seen her. So I can't remember. It was like 15 years ago. Man. It's just, yeah. As old as you are, that's how long ago it's a while ago. It was a trade show I did in Columbus, Ohio. It was great. It was just great. But it's I was not prepared for the number of artistic people I was going to see, which was everybody was expressing their own art, You know what? Anybody that says anything they don't like it, you can always say, right? Eyes in the art is in the eye, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Right? Works. It works. When did your class start? 5?
Huh?
5 o'clock your class starts?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll get some drooling here a little bit. But all I'm gonna is just liquefy the color here. Normally, when you do watercolor, you do it in stages. You don't do it in wash. You do it in washes with just quick shot. That's not. I think.
Oh, congratulations. You need to mute your phone. Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Sometimes they just repeat, right? They just. So I'm just trying to capture some of that pull down, with a reflection of the water and like that. And you can do this works really well in oil. Did you guys do Halloween?
Yeah.
What did you do? Did you go to a party or did you go out and actually trick or treat?
I went out with my brother and my sister.
Yeah.
They're both
Yeah. What were you?
I was this dude from a band. I can show you how I painted my face.
Okay, sure. What were you?
I was a
Oh, and of course you made yourself up, right? How about you? Did you go out?
Yeah. I mean, well, I just wore all black.
Oh, wow, okay.
Black mask.
That was it. Yeah, black mask. And what did you call yourself anything?
I literally gave myself a name black.
That's
It
it.
was- It was just black.
That's it. That's
It
okay.
was just a ghost. Oh,
Yeah, that was fun.
that reminds me of the trail.
What?
The trail down.
Really? Yeah.
When you look at the trail, it's right and it's all that.
Yeah, it's just nature's all over the place here. It's just so wonderful. It's just you ever go down by the more towards Four Corners down that way? There's access by the lake there. There's a big lake out there by the.
And
You swam in it, where?
by the waterfall, past
Yeah.
past the waterfall.
Is that right?
It was during the summer, and I almost like completely just like fell.
Wow.
And someone caught. I don't remember who caught me, but I went swimming that day. And that day I ran home covered in mud.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. It must have been really messy. Yeah. Yeah. Would anyone else jump in?
Oh yeah, I had like at least 10 kids with me.
Wow. Okay. So you had some backup there. That's good.
What time is it?
It's 5 o'clock. Just about 5. Yeah. Yeah.
What are they?
This is what I would call a first wash, and then you build it up gradually. You have to wait till each layer dries before you go back with a pencil again, because you'll just tear the paper, you'll just tear the paper.
So Mike, then you go back and when it dries and you add details, is that what you do?
Yeah, well, what I would do now is if I was home, what I would do is with the people watching, I would say, now what I'm gonna do is just mute you so you don't have to hear this. I take my blow dryer and just blow dry it, right? Take about maybe a minute, just maybe 30 seconds, just dry enough. And then I can go back with another wash of another pencil wash. Now, if I was using tube colors, then it would be different because it's already liquefied. It's in a semi-solid state, but it's still liquefied. It's easy to re-liquefy it. Rather with pencils, it's a hardened state, and then it takes a longer time to liquefy it. I could go in there with the tubes, even when it was just still wet, and still play with it, do that. But with 10 pencils, you can't, because they'll just tear. Like I said, the paper has to be dry. So each layer with pencils has to be dry before you go into the next layer, and that's what you have to remember. I've seen so many disappointed students when they don't realize they get carried away with it, and they forget that the paper is very fragile when it's wet. You see the directional stroke here for the water. Now, sometimes you can cheat a little bit, and you can actually take your wet brush and steal some of the paint off the tip of the pencil. That's all you've got. And then you can utilize it. So I bring the shadow out. See the little shadow right in there. And again, this is a very loosely done. This is impressionistic, I like painting that way sometimes rather than the realism. Realism is wonderful. It gets kind of droll after a while though, because you feel like you're trying to do everything photographically, and sometimes it's just fun to just rip loose, let it go, just let it go and have some fun. When I showed my wife Jeannie this when we were engaged, I took her to a couple of my classes, and she was great with this. She didn't like the representational work. She liked the impressionistic. She did a great job on it. She so impressed me. I was going to tell her that she was lying to me when she said she had that experience. It was really wonderful to see. And she really enjoyed it. It's very subtle. It's very subtle, but and then you can begin to put things on a little more of a semi-opaque paper. Now remember, this is still damp a little bit, but I can get away with it by doing this, by actually just taking some of the color off the tip of the brush, tip of the pencil here, and then locating where I would like to put a landmass, maybe coming out here like this. little peninsula area here. Thing like that. And then the one thing you never want to do though is to soak your pencils in water. It ruins the wood. You can get away with a little tip of a brush playing with it, but if people, sometimes people think that they can hasten the process by wetting the whole pencil and then going up there. No,
So
it
you're
doesn't
only
work.
using the pencils and then wetting the paper
Right.
with what you've put on there with the pencil,
Because
correct?
Yeah, because the wood itself is porous.
I would,
Yeah.
yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, and then of course there's expansion and contraction when it dries, and it just ruins the whole pencil. And if you do it enough, your whole pencil filler will fall right out. It'll just come right out. And you don't want to do that, especially if you spend some, reasonable amount of money on your set. Um, let's see. Let's see what we can do here. This is a triple O brush here, and what I can do is put in a little bit of. So it's nice to have a set of watercolor pencils, a set of watercolor tubes too, and with a little palette, and then you can switch off and do whatever you want. You can switch off. You can intermix them, things like that. Let me just take this off here a second. I'm going to show you what to do. I'm going to put a little touch to identify. I don't even see that, but there's a little trunk way out there. I put a little trunk, but I use the colors that are already in the scene itself. That helps. And let's see, darken. I'm going to darken this now a little bit. So you work with watercolor, you work from light to dark. And in oil, you go from dark to light. And that's the big key right there. You got to make sure you do your lights first, all your medium lights, light, very light lights, and then you can go to your darks. But with watercolor, if you go to your darks first, there's going to be no way of showing your lights because everything's transparent. So
Mike, when you're like making a picture like this, I mean, I know you're an artist, but so if someone is envisioning before they put it down on paper, they should have an idea of what the landscape is going to be, right? And if they're going to have a like idea of it's going to be body of water and the leaves and the land mass, or
yeah, it'd be a good idea. Yeah, I always recommend to students that are learning to get your thoughts organized first. Get it. I mean, it seems a little regimented for art because you think it would be more you're trying to do a mathematical formula, but you're not. It's just a matter of getting your thoughts organized. What you do first, second, third, fourth, so you don't have to worry about that. And then you can refer to your sheet, your memo sheet, and you can concentrate on the content then of the colors and stuff. You have to worry about all that.
should they sketch it out first in pencil, like on a piece of paper?
If they have the ability to sketch, I do suggest that completely. Yes.
I mean, not on that paper, but if they did it like on a scratch paper and said, "This is my idea, and this is what I
right,
want."
exactly. Yes, exactly. And I encourage that. It's the mind is very fertile, and you can if you're motivated, you can come up with so many variations of one type of scene. You may not want every one of them at the end, and you may pick out. I've done like 15 different scene shapes, and then I pick out one of them that I really love, and then I'll do that. I use Photoshop now to do a lot of that stuff. I used to do a lot of my my compositional drawing with pencil, but now I do a lot of it in Photoshop where I take elements of either past paintings or photos or whatever, move them around, compose it to where I like it, and then print it out and use that as my guide for and photos that I take. I take quite a bit of photos, and I love photography, and that's one way to get you to get something prepared before you actually put the paint on the canvas. And especially with watercolor too, you want to be careful because watercolor is it's semi-permanent to permanent. You can't get that off, you know? There was only one trade company that I actually knew that did it, and that was 20 years ago. And it was called play speedball, it was called, and it only lasted for a couple of years because no professionals would buy it because it faded in the sunlight. You could lift it, you definitely lift it, but you couldn't. It was not good. It wasn't good. It was good for very early student, you know. Yeah, so watercolor you want to learn slower. You know, oil you can learn a little faster, make mistakes, scrape off, you know, things like that. But with watercolor, you want to do slow and just work on it gradually, working with your colors, seeing what your colors get, your intermediaries, your darks, things like that. You know, and then, but always remember that law that in watercolor. That's generally it's lights first, darks last. Okay. In oil, we can get away with the opposite. We can go darks first, lights last. Yeah. So. Yeah, so here I am. I use the back of my hand to touch. This looks pretty dry right now. The temperature in the library is nice. It's good drying. And what I can do here is pardon me. I'm putting ideas here of trunks of trees here. But remember, they're far away, so you're not going to see them very close and large. And keep your subject simple, you know. You don't have to go very complicated when you're learning. Makes it easier on you too. It's much less stressful. And, yeah,
Well, it looks lovely.
just gonna. These are the things that I would do for cards, you know, for Lord and Taylor, even markers. I would do these greeting cards. I get this little tick on my throat. I'm sorry.
What do you mean? You
Myself.
did for Lord Taylor?
Well, I for years I worked during the holidays at Lord and Taylor and with Neiman Marcus, and downtown I went down to Saks, and I would do holiday ornaments for them, but
Oh,
not
that's amazing.
but not the store-bought ornaments. The store-bought ornaments were not made. They were really not made by artists. They're grandiose looking things, but they were factory produced. You know, these were handmade by me. So I would do winter scenes on them. I would do little winter birds and things of that nature, and then I'd get a box, nice boxes and tissue paper and put them in, and it was all part of a promotion so that they would have me ship my order in. I come to say I went to Saks Fifth Avenue, and I'd be by the counter, and if they hit a price point of $100 or something like that, they had a free ornament with their name on it. I would put their name on it, you know. And it worked for years. It was wonderful, you know. And that's the sad
That's
part. I really
nice.
feel bad about with Lynn Taylor and Eastchester. It was a wonderful relationship, you know. We had a good
Yes,
time.
we all miss that, that's for sure.
Yeah, I did it for 10 years there, and holidays were real special, you know. They were really special at that time. And yeah, and I did greeting cards too. I would do Mother's Day, you know, Valentine's Day in the stores, um, and quite honestly, I was very fortunate because I got a lot of ancillary business from it too. You know, you know, just from handing my cards out. You know, I was always asked management first. You know, when I went to the store, may I display my card or whatever, because I don't want any conflict of interest. And they always never one of them turned me down. Said absolutely, showed your cards, really good. And I got a lot of different things. Families wanted me to do, you know, oh my gosh, house portraits on their ornaments, and dogs, and um, just one woman. I felt so bad for Lord Taylor one night. She came very late, 11 o'clock at night. I had finished the painting. on the ornament, and she dropped it on the floor, right in the middle of the floor in the wooden tailor at 11 o'clock at night. It was during the holidays. I said to her, I'm going to help you. I'll help you out. I said, so I did it again. It took me a couple hours to do it, but I did it again for her. I didn't charge her again. I feel crushed. I feel terrible for her. You know.
Do you have enough water, Mike? Do you need more water?
Yeah, if you would, I appreciate it.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. Yeah, you can see a person.
That looks great.
Thank you so much. Oh, I tell you.
I'm gonna, we have another 5 minutes.
Yes. Already.
Yeah.
Mhm. All right. And
I can't get over how realistic that looks.
yeah, it's so funny when I'm putting it on, it doesn't look like it at all. It's just splashes of color, you know, and then you sort of define it a little bit as you go. But I just intensified some of the trunk a little bit here on a couple of them, just I'm going to soften them out a little. There's also a watercolor called opaque watercolor, which is called gouache. It's a designer color, and that's actually the opposite of watercolor. It is watercolor. It's only, you can use it for areas of opaque area, but just like you would work with acrylic paint, except it doesn't have it's not made of plastic like acrylic paint is. You know, it's just regular gouache. It has a couple of ingredients added to it to make it steadfast.
Interesting.
And, yeah. And test the area. A lot of talking today too. No, most people hesitate doing watercolor because they're afraid, you know, because you can't erase. But if you learn it slowly, you can do it. You can really do it. All right, I think we're done.
That looks lovely, Mike. Thank you so much
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
for coming. And we had you in person today. We're online, but we did have you in person in the house. So,
Yeah,
and we'll see you next month. We're
Yes.
probably doing something for a holiday look, right? Something for a
Yeah.
holiday, fun holiday
I would imagine, yeah, we'll do something with fun,
image.
snow or something, like that. We'll do it.
Okay,
Yeah, that'd
that
be
sounds
great.
great. So thank you
Super.
so much. And we'll see you in December.